Oh, there he is, got him. Fish on, oh my God. Got him, got him, got him. Bead change worked, bead change worked. Oh, don't do that to me. He's pulling some tricks on me here. Come on, no, you stay away from that rock. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Dickin' Fishing video. Today, we're going back to our roots, and we're taking some time to get on the river and show you guys the 3 things you need to know to go out and catch a steelhead. River conditions are perfect, everything is in the boat that we need to be successful, and we're starting off today with nothing other than the bead. Why I go with the bead setup, especially first in my combo of 3 different setups, is because it's a very, very natural presentation. It's uninvasive, it gets in front of those fish without spooking them, and believe it or not, they really like to eat round things that are shiny that float down the river in front of them. So the rod I have this on is a 10.5 foot Okuma Guide Select. This is 6 to 12 pound rod. I love it because it's limber, it casts well, and it's a lot of fun to fight fish on. 65 pound test, C40 reel, 15 feet of bumper. If you guys want to see this in-depth setup, go on the page, go down below into the tutorials, and you can see the step-to-step how to set this all up, but I'm just breezing through it. 1/2 ounce bobber, pencil lead, 5 foot leader with a split shot, a bead, and what is probably the most important section of your bead setup is having that glass bead in line with a size 2 addicted bead hook. You can find a lot of this setup on addicted.fishing, so if you guys want to buy these hooks or any of these bobber setups, go check it out after this video. So, what's most important about fishing a bead is your line management, which is really what we're going to show you guys in depth today. Behind me I have a really fast run, a lot of boulders, all kinds of different currents going through, and I'm going to show you how to properly mend your line and hopefully hook a fish for you guys on camera. Let's do this. Okay, secret of the trade. Using a little scent on my beads. You can either use aniscent, and my favorite is the Addicted Winter Chrome Blend. That's what I just put on there. So, I have a fast run out in front of me. I'm gonna start close. I preach it in every single video, you guys. You start close, you cast to the middle, and then you go far. So I'm gonna make my first cast out, about 30 feet out in the water. Most important thing at all here, you can see instantly I get this belly in my line. I start to get a horseshoe shape below the bobber. I'm gonna grab the line with my hand, keep my hands at 45 degrees, mend that line all the way back over to the middle of the river and let that thing keep floating. I'm gonna just completely take my hand off. I'm not gonna be touching the line. I'm not gonna be inflicting it at all with any tension so that that bead can float down river naturally and go all the way into the end of the tail out where those fish will be sitting. Come on, come on. Okay, next cast is gonna be about 20 feet farther. Same thing, I'm gonna keep my rod tip high, line at 45 degrees. Oh, there he is, got him, fish on, oh my God. Woohoo! All right. Oh, okay. That was a heck of a bite. That fish just destroyed it. Okay, I'm ending my line, tip up off the water. Oh, I can't believe I missed that. And you guys, number one thing that I'm gonna talk about in this episode is how I missed that fish. It's instant replay. Look at how terrible my hook set was. Oh, there he is, got him. Fish on, oh my God. What I did wrong there was I swung my rod instead of just closing my bail and reeling tight against that fish to allow that hook to sink into the side of its mouth. Instead, I grabbed my line, I yanked my rod, and I pulled that hook literally right off of his lips. That is a mistake we don't want to make when you're bead fishing. Bobber goes down, close the bail, and straight reel until you feel that fish on your line. It's the easiest way to do it, and honestly, I found it to be the most effective. I'm gonna make my next cast a little bit farther. And that key is, once again, line up, rod at 45 degrees, tip up in the air, and let that thing go out. And what I really like to do to give it line is I take my finger off the line or my hand, I give it about 10 to 15 feet, and then I slowly follow that bobber down with the tip of my rod. Give it about 15 feet, and then slowly lower that line to go out with that bobber so that I'm not inflicting any pressure against it once again, which is gonna pull me out of the strike zone. I'm gonna take 5 big steps downriver. Now that I've covered it close middle to the far, get a little bit different presentation of these fish. Okay, here's something we don't talk about enough, you guys. I fished through the rest of this run, didn't catch anything on my yellow bead or on my orange bead, I mean. So I switched to my pink bead. So that's something to be said. We're not gonna talk as much today about color, but we are gonna talk about switching. I obviously got a bite in the run, never got a bobber down in the same spot again, never did hook a fish throughout the rest of the run. So I'm not gonna change too much about my bead other than the color on that situation. So let's cast in. I want to be prepared on the first couple casts. Let's see if it works. Right in there. That's where he was. Come on, baby. Eat it. Eat it. Come on, eat it. Eat it. Dang. Got him, got him, got him. Bead change worked, bead change worked. I didn't do a goopy hook set that time either. We got him. Oh, in the exact same spot he was, guys. That fish didn't move an inch. Let it be said, if it's cold outside and you hook a fish in a spot and actually lose it or miss it, there's a good chance he's coming back. Oh, don't do that to me. He's pulling some tricks on me here. Come on, no, you stay away from that rock. You nasty, nasty guy, you. He's witty. So, first technique of the day, paid off early in the morning. Bead is on the board. Little, get back. He's fine right there for this, but little, don't touch it. Nice. Woohoo! We're on the board.
Yeah, baby.
All right, pink bead for the win. Made that quick change from the orange bead to a different color, something a little more subtle, less light outside. I'm gonna switch to that other bead later on in the afternoon once it gets lighter. But there it is, our first fish of the day. And he's a beauty. All right, so because this is the hatchery fish and we're gonna take it home, we're gonna make sure to clip its gills right after we get our pictures done, start getting all that blood out of the meat so that we can take this home and have the nicest meal possible. Thank you to the creator for that one. And you, little fish. Thanks for sacrificing yourself. Wow, that's freaking cold. That's gotta be close to 40 degrees, at least. That is frigid. I can tell I ate the bead. A lot of times with that colder water, those smaller presentations can be very much more effective, but we're gonna be fishing different presentations that are a little bit larger today too. So super excited to get our first fish of the day. Item number 1, checked off the list. All right, method number 2 that we're going to talk about today is one we haven't really covered in any of the episodes lately, and that is the Secret Series jigs. When the water starts getting cold like this and everything gets low and clear and you have holes like you have behind us, which are the perfect scenario for catching a fish on a bobber and jig, it's hard to not use it. Go away from the worms because the water's clear and go with a little bit smaller presentation like these Secret Series jigs. This one is I think this is an 1/8 ounce jig. There's 16th and there's 1/4 ounce. 1/8 ounce is perfect for this time of the year. So I'm going to actually add a little bit of secret sauce on this, and that secret sauce being a little chunk of prawn. Just gonna run that right through the hook. The rod I got this thing on today is a 10.5 foot Okuma X rod. 10.5 foot's pretty nice for this sort of situation, especially if I'm in the water on the bank. I can get that line high up off the water. Got a 4000 series reel, 65-pound test, and of course my 20-foot bumper with my 1/2 ounce lead on there. And all I've done is take 3 split shots. Put that on the line with the barrel swivel, our jig below. Let's go show you how to catch fish. Okay, said it before and I'm gonna say it again, everybody. Close, middle, far is how you fish with this sort of presentation. You can see in front of me here, I got a little sandbar and then it starts to drop off. And then there's a point where you stop seeing bottom. I'm always gonna start my cast there. I got my bobber stop at about 2 feet because I can tell it's about 5 feet deep out there. I am gonna account for that depth underneath my main weight of that jig. I want that jig to be this far off the bottom or even sometimes hitting rocks as it flows down. So you can see out in front of me here, bobber straight up and down, going directly with the current. I didn't even have to mend on that cast, and mending is very important with this. You want that jig to be jig head pointing upriver and hook pointing down. That's the correct way to present that jig to that fish, or else if it's pointing downriver, it's gonna be going too fast. It's gonna be getting pulled down at those fish, and those fish aren't gonna turn and grab it on a cold day like today. First cast is close, so second cast out in the middle. All right, now that I made that second cast, we're looking pretty good. Now that I'm gonna cast further out where there's multiple different currents that I'm gonna be laying my line across, the mending and the line management is gonna come very, very important, or else you're not gonna get a good presentation. So I'm gonna go across again, about 12 o'clock, straight across to the other bank. You can see instantly that line starting to get grabbed on that inside current. All I'm gonna do is lift my tip up and very abruptly and quickly lift my line up and put it upriver of my bobber so that my bobber continues to lay straight up and down. As soon as it starts to point downriver again like this, you see it start to lean, I'm gonna mend the line again. And what I like to tell everybody is if you mend it the first quarter of your drift, which is about the first 20 feet, and then you mend it 3/4 of a drift, which is about 100 feet down below you, you shouldn't have to make more than 2 mends a drift. So again, that's out, mend at 1/4 drift, and then mend at 3/4, and you should be able to not have to mend more than twice, which is gonna make you ultimately have a better presentation. And so again, you guys, cast at 1/4 upstream, about 45 degrees, have your wrist cocked, rod straight up in the air at a 90-degree angle, mend at the first quarter of the drift, the first 50 feet, lift the line up, throw it to the right, let it fall, let it fish, and then one more mend right down here at 3/4 of the drift, and we're effectively fishing all the way through this run. All right, we made our close middle far cast. Now we're gonna move downriver about 5 steps. So just like fishing with a bead, if really anytime you're fishing with a bobber, after you fish the section in front of you, I like to take about 5 steps downriver. So let's do that. Goodness me. Look at this thing, everybody. Oh, everything the guy could ask for. Look at it. Platinum and strong to boot. Look at that, everybody. What a specimen. Sink It series sticking out of her nose. First hen of the day too. She's got a good personality. Look at that fish. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the third and final setup. That completes the only 3 setups you need to catch a steelhead. This one is the spinner, obviously. And what I'm really gonna talk about in today's episode with the spinner is how to fish fast water. A lot of people like to throw spinners in all different kinds of water. I personally like to fish them in fast water the very most. But for me, if I had to pick one style of water to fish in, it's this fast water right behind me here. I love it, especially on a sunny day like today when it's nice and cold. These fish are in the shallow water sunning themselves with that nice bubble curtain over the top of them, just like you're seeing here behind me. So I'm gonna step through here, I'm gonna show you the technique of fishing fast water like this, see if we can't get a fish. So the rod I'm using here today is the Okuma X rod. I got an R&B spinner on here with a black body, and this is a 9.3 8 to 15 pound rod. I really do like this rod the most. It casts very, very well. Anything over 9 foot is something that you're gonna want, or 8.5 feet. Don't go with the real short rod when you're spinner fishing unless you're on a really small river. The 9.3, in my mind, is the perfect length for fishing just like this. So I'm gonna step through here and we're gonna go right back to the basics. Like I've talked in every other one of the spinner videos or any of the videos that we've showed you how to fish a spinner in the past few weeks. First, we're gonna start close. And when you're fishing a fast water like this, where you know it's only about knee deep, close means about 10 to 15 feet. I'm just gonna throw the spinner about 2 to 3 rod lengths out in the river, keep my tip down, and I'm gonna allow it to go right down to the bottom. Obviously, it's not deep. So keeping your tip pointed right at that spinner and keeping the most amount of contact in between it is what is imperative for staying off the bottom and cleanly fishing your spinner through the zone and catching those fish that are sitting in that shallow water. So I made that first close cast. I'm gonna go a little bit further in the middle. Got my tip pointed right at it. I'm engaging my spinner blade as soon as it hits, but I'm not just reeling it back in. I'm following that spinner down through. I have my tip pointed low, walking it along, and as soon as I feel the bottom or a fish, just like I felt there, I'm just gonna lift my tip up and bring it to the surface. As soon as I lift that tip to 45, that spinner goes right to the surface of the water because of how fast it's moving. And now one thing that can be really important is making sure you have the patience of a fisherman when casting into a section like this. There could have been a fish there, there wasn't. There could have been another fish there and there wasn't. But I know the best spot is further out in the middle. Having the resolve to cast close and cast to the middle and then cast far and cover that water is ultimately gonna help you catch more fish in the future, because you're not gonna cast past this one right here when there's multiple fish in the hole. So we're going into the sweet spot now. This is the glory right there. Ooh, that felt fishy. And you can see now that I cast it up at like 45 degrees upriver, I'm gonna need to reel just a little bit faster to keep that thing from snagging up on the bottom. Putting that sidewash hook, I have a 2/0 mustad sidewash on the end of the spinner, and that really is what keeps me from snagging too much. Those treble hooks that come on spinners tend to grab the rocks a lot more than these sidewash hooks do. All right, so I made my close middle far cast. Now I'm gonna take 2 big steps downriver. Okay, so now we have a big boulder that we're trying to fish. This is probably something that people have the hardest time fishing when learning how to fish a spinner. The key is to just choose the portion of the rock that you wanna fish. You can't ultimately fish from there all the way to there effectively on one cast. So use your spinner, cast over the rock, and fish 5 feet of that strike zone. And then make a cast downriver a little bit further, not so much that close middle far. We know the destination we want to be, so we're going to make the same cast, but make that cast in steps going downriver. So I'm going to cast all the way across, past the rock, right into the sweet spot. I'm going to make sure I get that nice first 10 feet or so behind that boulder where those fish might be sitting. Then I'm going to keep that tip low. Now that I felt it go through that soft water, I was reeling a little bit faster to get through that soft water, and I'm going to let it swing to the end. I might have just hooked one and pulled it right out of his mouth at the end there. Did you guys see that? Okay, second cast, a little bit further down. Swing it on over in the strike zone. And then my third cast, right in the meat of the rock. All right, nothing behind the big rock. Let's keep moving down. Okay, now we have a completely different style of fast water. We have a big island on the other side and a big rock on the inside. I can see that right in that little pocket behind it, just that soft little area that's kind of green and I can't see the bottom, it's gonna be the only place the fish are gonna be. So I'm gonna target that spot first, fish through it, and be ready on my first couple casts for this fish to strike. Oh, that was fishy. Couldn't even talk. Took my breath away. That was really fishy. Okay, cast number 2, I'm gonna cast the exact same spot. All right, I'm just repeating this all the way down through this hole, making sure to move at a quick pace, take about 2 steps after every single cast, and try ultimately to get an effective cast behind every single big piece of structure that I can see. Got him. It's a good one too. It's a good one. All I had to do was cry about it a little bit. Fish on. Oh, wow. Insane jumpage. Yeah. Another one. Oh, another one. Wow. This fish likes it out of the water much more than he likes it in the water. That's for damn sure. Beautiful little steely. Oh, another one. Jump count. Jump count. Yeah, baby. Look at that. What a creature. Well, that is a wrap for today's video, everybody. I want to thank you all so much for being along for the ride, and I hope you learned something. I hope you take something from this video, go out and have some fun chasing these amazing fish that we call steelhead. If you guys want to see more fun and informative videos just like you saw here today, go up here and click this link to the next video. Go down here, hit subscribe, turn those bells on, give this video a thumbs up, and comment below, and you can be the comment of the day, just like this person right here. Thank you all so much for being here, everybody. You stay fishy. We'll see you out there.